Let's do a video. Why not? Battle report, 40 points. Game of Thrones set up here. We got the Baratheons. We got Stannis as the commander. He's going to be using his King of the Wall commander stuff. We got 2 Stag Knights here. Sorry, 2 Chambers of the Stag. Stag Knights are over there. Andrew Estermont's in that group there. Davos, the Lightbringers. Over here we got Team Stark. We've got Tully Calves over there with a Winterfell Guardian in there. We've got Big John in his Berserkers. We've got some Bog Devils with the Chronomang Survivalist. We've also got some archers back here with Roderick as our commander in there. So this is kind of my tournament list that I would run for Starks. And I want to try them out against a more heavy defensive unit, or army, I should say, in Stannis and the Baratheons. I've not tried Stannis, King of the Wall, his cards yet. We'll see how they play out. And without any further ado, we'll get started here. So we've already put the table out there. Stannis decided to put it on this side, and the Starks decided to go first in round 2, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, so round 1, Stannis went ahead and went first. He threw Shira over here on the letters. They threw a weakened token over there on those guys over there, and took 2 cards, and that's what they're working with now. And then Starks answered back, throwing Stanza on the horses, and they maneuvered their Tully Calves out a little bit to try to maybe sort of outflank Stannis. We'll see what happens. So Stannis threw Crescent on the bags to block them from taking that weakened token off. Not much else happened there. The Starks played a card, swift reposition to shift these guys 2 inches over that way. The previous turn they put one of their attachment cards on Roderick's unit. And then they went ahead and marched the Berserkers up, stopping right there. They decided to leave Howland Reed off the board for now. So the Stag Knights with Andrew Estermont, they just marched up and they went and stopped right here before they get those stakes. That took care of them. Over here, they still keep Howland Reed off the board, the tactics board. Instead, they went over here and marched up their archers with Roderick in tow. So Baratheons don't march up their lower Lightbringer. Instead, they do a quick maneuver, get over here. They know the Starks go first around 2, try to use these to their advantage if they can. And then the Starks went ahead and marched up their Bog Devils up to there, and that's how it's going to sit. The Stannis maneuvers and marches his Stag Knights over here, sitting on top of that objective now. They can't score it this round, but then the next round, if they're still on it, they will be. And over here, they still left Howland Reed. They probably should have put him on the board, but they marched and maneuvered their Tully Calves up here. They were just out of range of Stannis, so he couldn't really play the ride them down. But this should be interesting here, finishing up round 2. I got a feeling that might have been a mistake, because really he should have gone out there first and then made these guys -1 with the influence, but we'll see how that happens, plays out. So almost at the end of the round, we have Stannis finding a maneuver on a march, putting him on top of this objective, but still within a 1-inch gap here. He just didn't have the distance for it would have been a long charge for him. He didn't want to risk it. He parks himself right here on top of this, and if he can hold this thing, he'll get a sweet reward down the road. Howland Reed activated for the Starks next. He jumped on the crowns zapped these guys, and because these guys, their morale has been changed from 5 to 6, and a -1 from the crown to 7, they actually failed their panic check, and they took a wound on that. So, yeah, because for some reason Simon loves nerfing Stannis and the Baratheons. I don't understand why, but whatevs. On to round 2. Well, the Starks, after thinking it over, decided there was nowhere to. The only charge they have is here, but they had a weakened token on already. This charge is awfully far, going over stakes, plus a counter coming over that way. They're going to play a little safe here. They went ahead and threw Howland Reed on the letters. He put a weakened on Stannis, and then he threw his influence card on the lower Lightbringers, giving them -1 to hit for this turn. Yeah, it didn't go so well for the Starks here. Stannis threw Shira on the swords, and they did a 2-inch shift and put them in range for a long-range attack. Even with Howland Reed influencing that -1, now they're hitting on 4s. they still rolled incredibly well, and they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total hits. The Berserkers only managed to block 2 of them. Took and lost a rank on that. Passed their panic check, so at least there's no cascading panics, and that's where it sits. Boy, the Starks really wanted to charge with the Big John, those Berserkers, but it was going to be a long charge. They were about 10 inches away to roll 4 or above. They probably would have gotten that 50-50 chance of getting it. Instead, they elected to play a little conservative here, knowing that these guys, if they fail the charge, they got an easy shot at them. They put Sansa on the maneuver zone, the horses, and they maneuvered this way over. So they're sort of freeing up some room for Mr. Roderick to get in the action and start taking some shots down there. Stannis decides to answer back by throwing Crescent on the bags, pulling that weekend off. Well, Stannis questioned the balls of the Starks, and he probably shouldn't have, because Big John decided to charge anyways with his activations. So he played Devastating Impact, which gave him a reroll on his charge distance. He didn't need it though. He got the 5. He needed to get a 4 above to get there. It was a long one, but he got it. And then of course, once he did that, they're going to become panicked and vulnerable. He's going to play Winter's Coming after when they successfully charge. Different triggers on these. Now they're going to get to roll their highest attack die value, and they cannot be the target of friendly tactics cards or orders. Well, you know, when you're throwing 9 attack dice with a reroll and you're charging them, throwing down a vulnerable and a panic token on these guys on top of that, and with the card shutting down any orders or any kind of tactics cards that could be played on the Baratheons, you get some pretty devastating results. And here that is. I mean, so the 9 dice that went through, they scored hits on all 9. They did pretty well initially. They blocked, I think, 5 of the 9. But they pulled the vulnerable, re-rolled it, only blocked 1. They took, I think it was 8 on that. Then they failed. They took a panic check, but they passed the first one, but they had a panic token from the card dropped on them. They pulled the panic token. They failed the second try, and 3 more came off. So you can see how quickly these things can swing. And that's it for the Starks. Oh, one more thing before the comment section explodes on this. The reason they were throwing 9 dice was they had 2 ranks. They showed me throwing 8. However, they had the card, gave them their highest attack dice, so it's 9. That's where they got it from, was from the card. So Stannis, in a desperate bid to bail out Davos, he maneuvers off and he slides and he charges on the side. Now you think this would be a wipe for these guys, but it wasn't. So Stannis, even with the reroll, he didn't score any 6s for criticals. He still only scored 4 hits with the reroll, which is pathetic. And then he did drop the weekend as he charged them successfully. And they blocked. Now they're defending on 6s, mind you, that the Berserkers are. And wow, they blocked 3 of them, taking 1 wound. That's where he is. They did fail their panic check because Stannis popped his order for Incite, giving them Vicious, and it was enough for them to fail it. But they rolled a 3, but they only lost actually 2 because they have on their card they lose it's -1 wounds on panic checks for destroyed rank. They had 1 destroyed rank, therefore now it's down just to 2. So that's where it stands right there. So they're still there. Oh, I made a minor mistake on that last throw of the dice. These bullseyes on the Stark dice are 1s, not 6s. So they actually blocked 1. 2 more should come off of here. That's a little bit better for Stannis. So Roderick, he's going to activate. He shifts 2 inches that way, putting him in the flank of Stannis. Does mark target his order, makes Stannis vulnerable. He scored, he has 8 dice, but he's got boldness and courage. He's got 6 hits on the dice. Stannis, he's now at 3 defensive, and of course he had the vulnerable token. He made him re-roll some of the defense dice. So Stannis only blocked 2, took 4 wounds. He did pass his panic check quite well, he played back on them Baratheon Justice. He'll make them panicked. That's that card there. And that should pretty much do it for Rob. So did he roll a 1 in defensive dice? He did. He rolled some 1s out there. So he will be Stannis will be weakened because of the arrow volley. So Davos went ahead and retreated off of here. Before he did, he supplied aid. He took 1 wound off of Stannis. When Stannis passed his panic check, by the way, he does have the keyword stubborn tenacity, which anybody's engaged with with one of the unit, he can do a wound on them. He did. Took 1 more off here. That's where it's missing. Davos took 1 wound off of there. That's why that's gone. Davos is back here now. And we're going to leave this back to the Starks. So the Starks, the Tully Cavs cannot really get to those guys. Even with their maneuver and then charging, it's still too far away. So there's nothing. They're going to sit on this for a little bit. Stannis isn't going anywhere. Instead, they took their Bog Devils and they just did a maneuver and put them on top of that center objective right there. And they're going to try to hold it. And while they're holding it, if they can get this, it doesn't really help them, but they can drop a weaken from controlling that objective. They already have that ability, so I'm not sure how great that's going to be for them. But we'll see how it turns out. On to Stannis. So the Stag Knights are going to go next. They elected to use their attack action to destroy that stakes right in front of them. Now, they thought about crossing over and just going to charge these guys, but just because you charge through it, according to the rulebook, doesn't mean the stakes are destroyed. It says while you're in them, you're suffering wounds every time you activate, so or do something in there. So it's better, we felt, to just go ahead and spend the action to get rid of it now, and that's where they sit. So we're not finished with the attack sequence yet, but the Tully Cavs went ahead and they charged into Stannis' rear, as we knew they were going to do eventually. Now they played Devastating Impact. They could re-roll their charges and dice because they have her on the horses, and they rolled a 1 twice for Disorderly. So they still charged and got there, but it's Disorderly, so no re-roll for them. And of course, Stannis had a weakened token on them to begin with, so after all was said and done, they only wound up scoring 5 hits. But with Sundering and being in there, it took the 2s to 3, and then 4 and 5. So Stannis is at 5s now for defense, and he didn't block anything. So he's going to take 5 wounds, which we put on him now, and now will come the panic check. And this could be bad because the vulnerable state, they didn't need to pull it. He's got a panic token on him from that card. So Stannis comes through with his panic check. He rolls an 8. Now, he was in the rear, so his base morale was 6. Puts into an 8. And he's got the rare tree there helping him out, so he need to roll a 7 or above, and he got it. He got an 8. He's good. And Stubborn Tenacity kicked in again. He put a wound on those guys he's engaged with. Actually, I take that back. Forget, they had a panic token on them, so they're going to force this reroll. Now, they're going to pull this panic token off and force this reroll. They're going to have them keep the 3, have them reroll the 6. Uh-oh. Stannis did fail it. That's 3 more wounds. Oh, boy. So this wound doesn't go on them after all. And then he's going to lose. Oh, boy. Stannis is down to 1 wound. The Stag Knights over here had a tough choice to make. They sit on this and score it this round or come off it. They decided to come off it and get there. They didn't have enough room, or enough. They couldn't make the distance to charge these guys. But they could get, with a march action, a maneuver, get to there. And that's where they're going to sit and wait for next round and see what happens. So we're starting turn 3 right now. And I forgot a couple bookkeeping things. The end of round 2, this last attack, Stannis did play Final Strike on these guys. And he did put the 2 wounds, that's where those came from, on there. And then Stannis discarded 2 cards during the cleanup phase to pull 2 more up. And he managed to get these, which he really likes. And he does have first go. He's going to try to pull off something here with his cards and see if he can pull a miracle out of his ass, because now he's going to try to retreat. Now he can't go that way and he can't go this way, but he can go that way. Let's see what happens. Stannis throws Crescent on the horses to get the free retreat action. He retreats off playing Muster. He can re-roll his retreat distance dice too. I forgot to do that. He only rolled like a 2. Oh, let's see what he gets. Same thing, would have gotten a 2 again, so it doesn't matter. That's what he rolled the first time. So he gets off of it, he retreats, and then the card says he gets a maneuver action after the retreat. That's what put him out to there. In addition, these guys cannot pivot. He also restores the D3 plus 1 wound for each destroyed rank. He had 1 destroyed rank plus the 1. That was the 2 wounds they were taken off of him. And now he's sitting over there with 3 wounds. staring down at these guys. So Stannis is going to try to pull off a magic act here. We'll see if it happens. I gotta tell you, Stannis almost pulled this out, but unfortunately when the Starks went ahead, they threw Howland Reed on the swords, got the free attack with the archers. They had to shift that way to get in line of sight of Stannis. Took the shot on him. It's in the front. Boldness and Courage, 8 dice, no reroll. 7 hits. Stannis had a vulnerable token on him before, but even with that reroll, he's still blocked almost all of them. He only took 1 wound, and it came down to the panic test. He has 2 wounds left on him. If he passed the panic test, he could have played this and got 2 more wounds restored. Unfortunately, he failed it and gets the 2 on the dice. So Stannis is unfortunately gone, and there's no way he's coming back from this one. Davos is a maneuver action and moves back to here, trying to stay out of line of sight of these guys. But I think they still have line of sight to him, but they can't get in his flank because of this spacing here of resistance right now. So we'll see what the Starks do. So Stark activation, Big John just charged Davos. Now he had a card, Swift Reposition, which gave him a 3-inch shift, which got him much closer. He rolled a 3 on the die. He was good. He's going to line up right here with the charge, and let's see how this thing turns out. Well, I'll tell you, these Berserkers are pretty tough. So, look, he's rolling 9 dice with a reroll. With all that, he scored 8 hits. Yeah, 1 miss over there. Davos, yeah, it's just he's just dead, man. There wasn't much you could do about that. That will be another point for the Starks. That's 3 up for them and 0 for the Baratheons. This thing might be over, guys. It might be a board wipe here. Let's keep going. Well, Baratheons don't give up just so quickly. They're going to keep fighting here. So they maneuver, and a charge action got them there. They could have done better on this attack, honestly. They did on their attack roll. I'm sorry, they have critical blow because they're charging in. They got 1 crit there. It's going to be 6 hits total going on these guys. And they should have lost more, but they didn't. They actually rolled pretty well in their defense. They blocked 2 of them. Took 4 wounds on that. Did fail their panic, though, and took 3 more from that. So the panics really got them. And because they failed the first time, this panic token will stay. So that's that. So Starks go ahead and they jump on the bags with Sansa. And they're going to restore 3 wounds, take the panic token off, ending their activation. Okay, so Baratheon's up. Obviously, they were going to charge anti-rester monster into these guys. They had much of a choice. They did. Charge successfully. Howland Reed was influenced at -1, but they had Ars of the Fury to give him +1. These kind of cancel out now. And attack-wise, it could have been better for them. They have Critical Blow, and Vicious was running around 3 now, right? Yep. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. They didn't block any. They took their 6, and they failed their panic check for 1 more for a total of 7. And now I believe they can kick their order, which I think they have a swift retreat when an enemy makes an attack, and they do. And they're going to go ahead and do that right now. The Bogmen have resolved their swift retreat. Puts them right back over there. Okay, so the attack went through. So they did score 4 wounds on the attack, although the Stags did pass their panic check. Pretty impressive considering the Stags have that order where they block. It takes 2 unblocked hits to score a wound on them. They had precision added because they scouted openings on these guys first. So all those things put together, plus the card, they played Winter's Might on them. Highest attack die value and Sundering. So anyways, all right, let's unpack this for a second. So all those things together, 4 wounds, pass the panic check. The Stags are going to play Baratheon Conviction. I think I already threw it over here by mistake. Yeah, so they're going to play this. They're going to restore 2 wounds. They get none of their buffs because they don't control the crowns or the swords. They'll restore 2 guys back on for that one. Okay, desperately needed. And then we'll see what else we got. And almost forgot, they will drop the poison on the Stag Knights. So Baratheon's going to put Shira on the letters. And it says when she goes on and claims it that she can remove 1 condition token from a friendly combat unit. And the poison is considered a condition token for these purposes. She's going to remove that poison off of them. And put it right back over with the Starks. And then resolve what else she's got here. She's got 2 tactics cards and can put out a condition. So Starks have control what's left of the round. The Baratheons are out of activations. So they took their archers, they retreated off and got a 6 on the dice, putting them way back here, which was really important because the Baratheons had that ride them down card in their hand, and if they were anywhere closer, they could have ridden them down. But they are out of range for a charge. They can't connect. It's out of range. So card cannot be played. Let's save their biscuit. Over here, so Tully Calves, as expected, maneuver, charged. So they rolled 10 dice. They had a weakened token on them. So they only scored 4 hits, but they're in the flank and they have sundering. So it's going to be, it was 4 now, it's 6s, and they didn't block any of those 4 hits. So 4 guys over there, and then they failed their panic check, taking 2 more off, and that's where that stands. And before I forget, the Baratheons played Baratheon Justice on them after the attack was concluded, throwing down a panicked and invulnerable because they do control the letters. So start around 4. So the Baratheons are basically, now Starks, they're the first to go this turn. But it does say for Crescent that once a game, at the start of any round, you may activate Crescent at the start of the round. So he's going to go at the start of the round. They still have first turn, but he's just going to go first, and he's going to go there to the swords. They're going to attack the Bogmen, and they roll, and you think they do pretty well, being that they're all powered up now. It's round 4. It's round 4. They got Sundering, Vicious, and Critical Blow. No reroll though, and they roll almost all misses, only get 2 hits. Luckily for them, the Bogmen are defending on 6s, and they didn't block either one. That's where the 2 came from. Panic check came around, and they got so lucky on this. The Bogmen just barely failed it. They have Vicious -2. They're 5 base. Come back to 7. They only got a 6 on the dice. 3 more. That's the 3. That tray is wiped. Starks go ahead, put Howland Reed on the horses. He'll put his card on these guys, making them -1 to hit. Any terrain they go over counts as hindering and rough and whatever else is got on there. Yeah, hindering and rough keywords. Yeah, he's going over there. They maneuver themselves onto the objective over there and make these guys work for it. So the Baratheons with the stag decided to charge the Tully Calves instead because Roderick's just way too far out, and they played on the double to ensure that they're going to get there, which gave them a vulnerable token. So once they charged, Roderick took that vulnerable token, played combat prowess on them to take away their ability of Champion's Wrath. So no weakened token was dropped on them, and no critical blow going into effect. All that being said, so they did score 5 regular hits. They blocked 3 of them, took 2 wounds. Even with that vulnerable token, they still re-rolled and still passed. That was the 2 wounds over there. Then they passed their panic check. They pulled the Baratheon pulled this panic token off of the Tully Calves. They still passed it, and because they passed it, they have actually 2 keywords that will actually go together: Rally Banner and also Dauntless. They will restore those 2 wounds they just lost, which were these 2. They go back. And if that isn't bad enough, they have Stubborn Tenacity. So they're actually going to pick up a wound for their trouble. So Starks go next. The Berserkers charge. They did roll a 1 on their charge, which was disorderly, but still had the distance to actually connect with them. So the charge was still successful, though disorderly. No reroll for them, so they had to play... They had to play Winter's Might, and they'd already played during the charge action. They played Winter's Coming, so they couldn't use their order Resilience or be helped by any tactics cards. Really hamstringing those guys. And then, of course, Winter's Might did give them the reroll plus Sundering. They already had their highest attack die value being down to 1 rank, and because they're down to 1 rank, they're hitting on 2s. So with all that being said, and of course they had a weakened token on them, which Baratheons did pull, but this was the end result anyways, so it was still 8 hits going through with Sundering. These guys can't pop their order for Resilience, and now they're defending on 5s because of the Sundering, and wow, and they didn't block. I don't think they blocked. Well, they blocked 2, I'm sorry. They'll take 5. Or 6, I'm sorry. That's the tray, and this game is effectively done. There's no way they can come back from this one because they're just going to surge forth and move around these guys anyways. So that was it, man. That's gonna be game. Oh, by the way, Roderick did have, I think I might have he should have probably 4 tokens. He's killed 2 trays this game, and he had 1 for that one in round 3, and then the Bogman were on this one earlier. So that's it. That's it, guys. Unfortunately for the Stannis Baratheon, they go down. Starks really, man, ooh, these cards, you can get them in the right combination, man, are absolutely deadly. These Berserkers, even though they were only at 2 guys, if they don't get wiped, man, they can come back and do some serious damage. That's it, folks. I'll see you next time. Bye.